what is up, ladies and gents? It's been a little bit. I mean, technically, you probably might have seen me a little bit earlier. Yes, we did try to do this interview earlier in the day. Didn't matter. We're doing it like it's brand new right now because it's brand new to you. If you're tuning in, you didn't get to see our guest, and you're going to get to see him in just a few seconds. But first, I want to say it is a pleasure to see everybody again. It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, Rafa Sparza, coming to you live right now at 6:24 on Best Coast time. It is a pleasure to be able to resume the grappling hour. I've taken a couple months off. I moved. You notice the setup is a little different. This isn't even its final form. But when you get a guest that's this good, you just decide to go even when the place isn't finished. So get to look at this. Hopefully you'll see a different setup in the future. But for right now, I just want to say thank you to everybody who sent in notes and well wishes and thoughts. And people have been asking us, when does the next episode come out? And I just said, I don't know. And here we are. Brand new episode. All right. Now that we've taken care of that, let's talk about our guest. You might have seen him yesterday over at the Submission Underground, but you might have seen him at basically every other promotion. The man is a JitzKing. He's been competing on these Fight to Wins, the Third Coast Grapplings, you name it. He's there. He has notable wins over a plethora of individuals. Let me just run through a few names, okay? I like the fact that this man has beaten Johnny Tama, David Garmo, Roberto Jimenez, who is a great rival of his. He's got a win over Taza, Tackett, you name it, the names go on and on and on. But just this weekend, he picked up a win over a friend of the show, one Andy Varela. And if there's one thing you know about Andy is that when you see him in a match, it is always going to be fun. I can say the same thing about our guest here today. I'm really excited to get to know him better, and I hope that you guys are excited. So, ladies and gentlemen, make a nice little grappling hour welcome to new friend of the show, one Pedro Marinho. How are you doing, sir?
Thanks for having me here.
Dude, it's a pleasure to have you here. My apologies that we weren't able to make it work. It seemed that your cell phone decided to die on you.
Yeah.
So it's in the past, but now you're here and you're able to chat. But I love that you're in a Gracie Baragui. Look at this. This man is...
I just finished the class.
I can tell, but look at this, dude. It looks like this is how you do Zooms. It looks like this is how you talk to people. You're like, hold on, I have to put on my formal gi real quick.
Represent,
I want to caution you. I don't think our audience is prepared if you win anything that you take it off and run around and scream. So I just want to let you know that is something that we're going to have to caution you not to do. Well, first and foremost, congratulations on your win over the weekend. We were talking a little bit about Submission Underground earlier, but I'd like to get to know how you got involved in that card. How did you become a part of Submission Underground? I think it was just that month ago. Was that your first time on their cards?
Yeah. Supposed to last year they did this tournament. Wasn't, I think, kind of on Corona. They did this tournament. They invited me, but I was already fighting Third Coast Grappling on the same kind of date, and I didn't was able to fight that. And this year will happen again. The same tournament was to who gonna face Mason Fowles, right? Mm-hmm. And they invited me again. They sent a message, and I went to the tournament, did well, and hey, you want to do a super fight? I said, let's go, let's get it. And it was like this. It was kind of like natural.
But I want to talk about that performance. Like, you really impressed Chael that night. Did he say anything to you behind the scenes?
Yeah. I think that he said almost the same things that he said on the fight. He said, man, I'm impressed with you. Man, I can't wait to see what the future holds for you. These things, was nice. Was nice to see somebody like him, or with all the experience that he has on the martial arts. And he was like, man, I'm so proud. I'm so happy to see how you fight, how you go forward, and yeah, good things. Like you say, the future looks good, and let's keep working hard to make that happen.
I just like the fact that Chael was talking you up, but he wasn't the only one. Mason was the one that was saying he was looking at you and saying, I think people are sleeping on you as a potential opponent for him. How did that make you feel?
It's good, man. I kind of sometimes I felt that I'm underrated. Como fala, tá? Underrated. You know what I mean?
Like under the radar almost, or
like people don't sometimes like, man, I'm one of the dangerous guys in the world. You know, like I have the best guillotine in the game. I have wrestling. I have guard, and sometimes people know valorize. You know what I mean? Like, and I can beat any top high level guy. And I think it was good when I saw him tell that. You know, like I really like it. Mason's a good guy. He's another beast.
I mean,
is this? Sometimes I felt like people, you know, like doubt sometimes, but nowadays they can't more.
Understood. I mean, well, your resume speaks very highly, so I think they would be foolish to just overlook that on paper. I mean, you've had great matches. I was telling you this a little bit earlier, but I want to repeat it, which is I feel like during the pandemic, you were one of our reliable people in the jiu-jitsu community that when you saw you in a match, you said, you know what, it's going to be good. Like, I just feel like that's as hard credibility to try and build in our community because, let's be honest, there are some people who win by advantage. I won't name names, and they're cool with it. You look like a madman when you compete, and I'm into it, dude.
I can't stop. Like, for me, like, you know, my idea is always look for the submission, get the submission as fast as I can, you know, control whole match, and always push the pace, you know, like, I would be tired, no problem. I'm gonna keep on your face, you know, like, and always forward. It's kind of my style, the way that I like. I felt when I finish somebody, I really like, you know, show no doubt. You know, when you sometimes win advantage, it's good to is win, you know, but say it's not the same thing. You know what I mean? I'm much happy when I win like on submission.
That makes sense.
I look always for.
Well, there was reason for celebration over yesterday, though. So let's talk about that. Your guillotine finish on Andy. It happened very fast. So I'm going to need you to explain to me what you were seeing and how it happened. Can you walk us through how you were able to get that finish?
Yeah, man, he's so tough, you know, so strong. He's so long, have long arms, long legs, and I felt that I have to keep him close to the cage, you know, to avoid like I kind of like didn't let he work on his wrestling, you know. I always like push him to against the cage. It's hard for him like work his wrestling because he's fast, his speed, strong. I already knew that. And then one time that he tried to get the single leg, but his back was on the cage. I was able to catch the guillotine and drive down. It's so hard to defend because already like your back on the cage, you can go anywhere, you know. You can roll, you can do nothing.
I mean, it looked nasty, and by the time I think I was seeing what I thought was a pretty good grip, he had already tapped. It was a pretty fast tap. So you like to say that you have one of the best guillotines. I would be remiss if I didn't ask, where did you develop this great guillotine from?
It's hard to say like how I developed. To me, it was kind of natural, you know. One time that I saw that, I remember like I started later jiu-jitsu, you know. I started like 17 years old to 18, and I say, how am I gonna catch up? You know, these guys all day, years and years ahead of me. And when I saw the guillotine, my professor, he now showed him. No, my professor Tenor. So first professor I have, he showed me one time, and I like it because like I felt that guillotine you can do anywhere, any position, you know, everywhere, like on top, on bottom. The neck is always there, and I felt okay. I have to focus on this first, you know, and then. One time that I start like getting good on that, I look for all my trainings. Like I think like a years that I just train jiu-jitsu for get guillotine, you know. And then I start like one time that I get well with that, the guillotine make me confident to work the other parts of my game, you know, because I knew if something happened, I had the guillotine.
Well, also it's such a great chain move. Like, you can chain your sweeps, you can change a mount game. Yeah, like, there are so many things that are versatile, and it also becomes an offensive and defensive weapon. I know for myself, whenever I see a wrestler, I go, well, I'm very sorry, but I have to do this to you, even though we don't know each other. But it's to calm down. When did you know that you had it? Because, again, it is so fast. It is something that is part of your repertoire. Did you know that you had it that quickly, or were you very confident that it was a finishable thing?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I do a long time kind of, and I know when I gonna finish, when I gonna lose, what I have to do, and like God is not that this one is not that good. What I have to do to, keep on the dominant position. But that one was like it was hard. One time that I put my hand there, I felt good, and I said, "This is done."
And it was, and it was kind of a cool thing to do. Did at any point it kind of dawn upon you, or did there feel any kind of specialness that you got to main event the card? And so, when did that happen?
What was supposed to happen the Mason Flowers and Kyle Bond the match, and they like Varela was the contender, right? He fought with Mason the last time, and I think, I don't know, but I was co-main event first, and they are the main event, right? Kyle and Mason. And my deal was who win there, and if I beat Varela, I get the champ, But I think Mason hurts. He have an injury and he has to pull out, and they bring me to the main event. It was great, like the second time that I joined to the submission underground, and I went to be a main event and fight a high level guy like Andy. It was good.
Yeah, I mean, I sent Andy a note. We're friends with him. That when I saw you guys, very nice guy. I love the guy.
Nice guy.
But I also know he likes a high-paced match, and I remember the minute they put that up. No disrespect to Kyle and Mason, but I sent him a note that was like, I'm good with this. Even when you guys were co-main event, I was like, yeah, that's cool, but I like this matchup because I know exactly how well you both are matched up. And he was like, dude, it's going to be fireworks. And he was right, man. You guys made a great main event. So I was very pleased with that. Can you tell me a little bit about the atmosphere? I know it's kind of weird in the sense that they kind of had some fans there, but it was like a small group of people. Did it make it better to have some people there, or was it still weird that you didn't have a full audience? Because I know you've been used to that even during pandemic as well.
To be honest, I like, crowd. Like, I felt it's like much better to fight when people start yelling. I get excited. But it's when, like you said already, I fought on another times like this, with no crowd. And I think one time that I stepped on the mats, like my zone, you know what I mean? I don't get too much happen around. But I really like it when I have a crowd. They start yelling, I get excited, and the show's going on. It's better. But it was nice, man. They did was not too much people, but the people who was there was like a kind of share well.
That's cool. Did you like competing, though, in their events? I know you're competing in almost every single event possible, but what is making their event unique in terms of competing for them?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't like too much the overtime, and I try always finish my own matches on the regulation. And 5 minutes is good for me because I can explode 5 minutes. I'd say I don't need to stop. I don't need rest because when 10 minutes, these things, sometimes you push too much in the beginning, you get out on the end. But this just 5 minutes, you can just go, and I like this part. 5 minutes to go and beat people up.
You don't need to explain that to an older grappler because 5 minutes is about what I'm good for. And then I tell people, you know what? It's not going to be super great after that. I've got 5 really good minutes for you, and then I'm going to be over on the side just chilling for a little bit. I do feel, though, that they have an eye for you and they're thinking that they want to do something for you next. Did they say or give you an indication what they have in store for you next?
No, yeah, they invited me to the next one. I think they're gonna Mason and Kyle is gonna do the match, right? And I think I'm gonna be on the same card as them. And I hope after the match I win, I get the winner of the champ. Let's get that belt. I want that belt.
I mean, I know that other organizations have certain things that they say about if you win, you know, you get certain perks. Chael in the commentary is very clear about being like, the checks get bigger the higher you are on the card. You know, the more closer that you are to that championship, the more you get paid. So I understand there's that good incentive there. And I can see why that is. Let's start with this, though. You have been killing it in a number of different places. I want to get into your origin story, but before we even get to your origin story, I had a few questions. Normally, I kind of ransack through people's social media before I interview them to get like a vibe of what you're all about. This is your first time on our show. So I had a few questions. I hope that you're willing to walk us through with it, and then we'll get to your origin story. But let's first get you to tell me if you can just kind of summarize what we're seeing in this photo and why we're seeing what we're seeing, but I'm going to go ahead and show you. Now, look at this man with this crown. Do you ever get to wear this crown in any other situation? And if not, where does it reside?
Yeah, I put on the gym, but I never use it. I have a friend, he always say, man, you have to use this, you have to use it. No, I can't. I'm so shy for that. I put on the gym, the crown, the all things that I win, my medals, I put on Grease Barro as chase.
That's pretty cool.
They like it, yeah.
I just know that when I saw it for the first time, I was like, dude, I don't know what I would do with that. Like, I legitimately, like, you know, belts, trophies.
Well, it's nice. Like,
I know what to do, but that's a really nice crown, and I couldn't help but think, like, I don't know, man. It's kind of weird to wear it.
And they have the quality, you know what I mean? Like, the one, the king is right king.
I feel like one of these days, though, you should just, if you're going out drinking or to the bars one of these days, you should just wear it and see what happens.
For sure.
Because I know that there was one time when my wife and I were in Vegas, and I was in a suit for whatever reason, and they walked up to us, and then they said, like, oh my God, did you guys get married? And I was about to tell them no. And then they just kept giving us free stuff, and I was like,
Well, okay.
Sure. Yeah, we just got married. Oh my, is this a nice dessert too? This is great. And dinner's comped? We're gonna have to go run this up a little bit more. So, just saying. Okay, so that's your first photo. I would love some more clarification on what you're about to see here as well. So, if that's the first one, I do notice something about you, which is that you do seem to have an intensity to you. So can you tell me what's happening in this photo? Because I see this photo and I am afraid of this guy.
Man, nowadays with me and Roberto, we do so well, you know. I never had a problem with Roberto, never. But on this situation, I remember like I have a win over him on Third Coast Grappling, and we went to Pan Ams, and on the final he beat me on the division, and his dad talked a lot of bad things for me, you know, like I didn't like it at all. And then we win the open class on the same day, and then we went to the Worlds, and me and Roberto again on the final, you know, and his dad is still like talk, you know, bad things. No good things about me, this thing, blah, 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 this, that. And this was, I think, 15 seconds left. I was winning already. And I looked his dad, you know, and and did his face, like, you know. I say I respect everyone, but I wanted to respect him as well, you know what I mean?
I think that's a fair assessment. I mean, listen, dude, I
look in his eyes and say, man, you know, you have to respect me, you know, I mean... You know, you cannot talk shit from me.
I mean, it's a fair thing to do. I always tell people when they show up, say, you know, if I've done comedy and people start talking during that and then they look like their feelings are hurt, I was like, you talked during the show. Like, you became part of the show. Now I'm going to insult you and make you feel dumb. And the best part is, I already got your money. So... it's not, you could leave right now and I'll still make the same amount that I was going to make before you came in and out. So I would say this. I wouldn't feel too bad about it. I just know that's an epic photo. So that's a photo that I look at and I just think like, man, I didn't train.
Never gonna forget.
You certainly won't forget that. That is an amazing, fun photo. All right, let's go to this third one, and then I have a video. But I want to get the story behind this third nice little shot.
Man, this one was good. Like was the semifinals last Third Coast Grappling. We was like a war. Roberto always, man, he's one of the toughest guys I ever faced. Like always pushing the pace a lot. I respect him a lot. I respect his jiu-jitsu. And it was a lot of porrada during the regulation. This was the overtime. And I was surprised when on the overtime he would choose uh, close guard. He would choose like a be on top, I'm on bottom, and he choose wrestle. Like he choose a stand up. And I knew that is like the first point when he pick stand up. I knew I have advantage right there. And this was the perfect double leg to make me win. Amazing.
Did you see the photos and the memes that got made after that? Like, what was your favorite one? Because I saw a number of them and I thought they were pretty funny as well.
Man, I like one that the guy is even friend Ben. He's post like the real how you try do it, and like when they see it, the reality. You know what I mean? That one was nice. I like it.
This is just true. I mean, dude, it looked honestly like something straight out of Street Fighter when E Honda does like that missile. I was like, bro, that like looked so clean, and it's both amazingly funny, but also super cool. Like it looked amazing.
Yeah, I think this is my style is kind of like I'm aggressive. I'm a nice person, but inside the mat, I think it's kind of like when I really like enjoy. You know what I mean? I love being on this big stage. I love being around crowd. I love being on the lights. I love the pressure. If you tell me this guy he's the man, I wanna him. Like I wanna beat him. For me, like no make sense beat people who don't make sense. I wanna beat the best. I wanna be the best. And I always approach my jiu-jitsu like this. When I step there, it's like, man, if I need whatever I need to do to win, to submit to you, I will do. Of course, on the rules.
Yeah, well, I know. No, you're not kidnapping anybody's family and being like, meet me here or I take out grandma. Like, you don't really strike me as that kind of a guy. You do strike me, though, as somebody who, I know that you guys do a lot of strength and conditioning, and most of it makes sense. Obviously, you look good. You're in great shape. I do have one, though, that when I saw it, I couldn't help but say, why? And when you see this, I think you'll kind of understand maybe where I'm coming from. But I'll ask you this question again. Just why?
This was a professor from Professor Chris from Katie. He say, man, I was on the time that everybody was doing that. And I think people tried it, was able, he said, Pedro, come in here and try it. And I was, and I did. And I was with you, see, it's strong, man. Your neck is strong.
No, very strong. I get it. It seems very bad for most people's necks if that does happen to them. I can understand why the guillotine would be very bad for people. But I think the thing that didn't make sense to me is that now it's on your gi and your rash guard. And I know you're going to wash them.
Oh, good.
But you also have to travel somewhere else in that. So my first reaction was, I don't have any issue thinking, oh, is he strong enough to do this? I'm pretty sure you can. It's just afterwards, it's the aftermath of.
No, but if you look right, like didn't get on my.
Okay. Let me double check. Let's go back and run the tape again because
maybe I'm wrong.
I want to make sure because I'm pretty sure.
Let me see. It's I step a little.
It's still on you.
Yeah.
Look, it's.
And I eat it after. That's how he didn't get, but I eat it.
I knew that would happen. Once I saw you grabbing it and being like, well, it's open, so good for me.
Yeah.
That part I get. I didn't call you a.
No
I didn't call you a
wasting.
wasteful person. It's just the absurdity of doing it within your gi and then going like, man, this is wild. Like this dude, you know what? Good for him. I don't think I would. So let's ask this, Pedro. Where does jiu-jitsu begin for you? I think it's so funny to hear somebody who says, I started jiu-jitsu late in life. I started at like 28, 29. But for a competitor, starting at 17 versus some of your contemporaries, say even like Roberto, who from birth, that was his thing, you know, like it is difficult to then catch up. Where does jiu-jitsu begin for you, sir?
I remember on the time like was a lot of like UFC start like growing a lot these things, and I watched these fights, and I saw how much jiu-jitsu was effective on that time, and I was like a old. It's like no old, like I say, it's kind of like you said, to be professional, it's kind of hard. Like as later you started, it's harder. You know what I mean? Like early, it's better. And I kind of started like with 18 years old when I really start training jiu-jitsu, and with Professor Reinaldo Fernandes, younger, and my hometown. And that was like, man, I love. I started 2 days, and then I said, man, I want to do this for my whole life, like And I like quit of school, quit of job, like of course, like 3 years, I work in construction, trained this for hobby. I work in construction in Brazil. I was like, poor, don't have that much money, and I have to work on construction, a lot of heavy things, and train. Like I wake up, go to work, 6 to 5 p.m., 6 a.m. to 5 p.m., finish 5 p.m., went to the gym, train. I did this for kind of 3 years, and then I have the opportunity to go to train with Professor Felipe Preguiça in Belo Horizonte. Was when I started like my journey, my professional journey. It was when like kind of like before I didn't expect nothing of jiu-jitsu. I wanna leave it from jiu-jitsu, but I didn't have nobody close to me who make it. You know what I mean? Who made it? And I said I need to be the first one.
Okay. So I always ask this for people. It's a recurring question I have, which is, when did you fall in love with grappling? You did kind of say it was almost immediate, but I'd like to follow up on that and say why. Like, why did you know that this was the right thing, and why did you become so immersed with it so quickly?
Man, I was fun that I was training that guy. He's so light. Like I think he's like maybe 20 pounds less than me, 30 pounds. And always was strong, like, I'm Pohara guy. And I remember white belt, this kid like mess up with me, like beat me up. I said, man, if a kid this like 20 pounds less than me can beat me up, like doing this, I have to do too. I can't let it happen. and, but man, jiu-jitsu make me like, the most thing that I like in jiu-jitsu is the mental part, like jiu-jitsu you have to think all the time, make you smart. Like if you think jiu-jitsu is all thinking, why you do this, why you do that, why I put my hands right here, why you know what I mean? Like you have one wizard for everything we do in jiu-jitsu, and this make me like it, I like this part of like I have to resolve problems, what I mean? I love it.
I tell people it's very akin to diffusing a bomb. And sometimes the bomb goes off on you, and sometimes you go, "Well, I didn't do that one."
Sometimes
right.
you make a mistake, and then you go back. You do again the same thing, and it works. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like say, you're gonna sharp that thing. Sometimes the thing boom, but then you're able to later to catch up.
Absolutely, and I tell people, I'm like, if I'm doing it right, I should cut the wire, and you don't get hurt. But if I'm doing it wrong, we might both be hurt. So, I try to have a little bit of control on that. If that's the case, you told us a little bit about where your guillotine kind of developed. Was that the first thing that you felt like came to you?
Yeah, was because like I was small on that, like small, like say young on that time, and I already trained in Brazil. Nowadays, jiu-jitsu is kind of like a more, for everybody. But that time, like in Brazil, it's kind of like a man. jungle rules, you know what I mean? Like the stronger survive, you know. And I was little, and all the guys big, you know, beat me up so bad. But I find, like I say, the neck is a place that you can, you know, you don't need them. You just like the type that the guillotine that I developed. You don't need strength. It's not about strength, you know. It's where you're gonna put your hands, where you're gonna, when you're gonna lock his head, how you're gonna lock his head. You know what I mean? And I felt that I say, okay, this position I can use in any situation. You know, like say guard. I can defend takedowns with guillotine. You know, somebody people try to take me down. I use the guillotine at least sometimes just to defend. You know, and uh, and I always felt like you have to have something to make people scared. You know, like if you really like say I when I started want to be professional in jiu-jitsu, I wanted to be the best, you know. And I felt like all these guys who was great, they have something like, damn, you know what I mean? All the time that you talk about Spider Guard, you remember Romulo Barral, Burimbolo, Mendes, Miaus, you know. These people like they have something who make people scared, you know. And I felt I have to have something, you know. I cannot just like be okay. I do all, but I don't have nothing that I'm like a specialist, you know. And that's my mentality, you know. I say I'm gonna start develop this, work on this to make it so strong that people are gonna be scared.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And I've been wondering, you know, given your lineage, and a lot of people know Philippe as a competitor, what is he like as a coach for you, and what has he most instilled for you?
Yeah, Philippe, like when he invited me to go to his school was, and he make the project FP Go the team was like 15 kids, you know, like young athletes going to be able to live close to the gym and train with him, train with us. What I learned the most of Philippe is like the work ethic, you know. Man, I never saw nobody like train more than that guy. Like he trained a lot, like a lot, and push himself crazy. He's competitive, you know what I mean? Like say if you make one advantage on him, he wanna go like a 3 rounds more with you and smash you just to show you that don't gonna have more, you know? Like, and these things like you see and you say, man, yeah, I have to be like this to be a champion, you know? I remember the time I complained to him. I say, man, we train too much, man. I remember the time, sometimes we train 3 times a day, you know, 2 hours each session. And I say, man, you know, it's too much. You're going to break. I remember I was sick, you know, the first week because normally on my city, I train 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. When I moved to Philippe, I was training like every day, 3 times a day. You know, my body was broken. And he said, man, look, you don't need to do it. But this is the way that I did and works. I'm telling you, I'm showing you the way. If you don't want to go to way that you know what I mean? I'm showing you, you don't need. But I can tell you this way, I know you can succeed, you know? And when he always say to me too, like, he say, Pedro, you have something special, you know? Like we always was too close, you know, and he's always told me these things, you know, man, you have something special, you know? He always joking that on the train sometimes I'm not that good, you know, but in tournaments I grow, you know, I get big. And it was more this, like I learned a lot from him, like watching him doing things, you know, like how he trained, like his work ethic, how he take care of his career, you know, how he always like wanna be everything right, you know, on the places, all these things. And yeah, I think I learned a lot from him. How train, you have to train hard, not have this, like, you know, you have to train a lot. If you know you don't want to make it. He always tells us, you have to train crazy. And if you train crazy, somebody's training crazy than you. You know, you always have to do something different, something more.
I've wondered, and you can tell me if this question is not concurrent to your experience, but for somebody like Philippe, during your formative years in jiu-jitsu, he is having wild success. What does it feel like to be around somebody like that? Because a lot of people start jiu-jitsu and want to be very, very competitive, but may not have access to somebody who is having that kind of epic kind of run. Did that make you want to be more of a competitor, or did you just say, like, man, it's hard, but it is achievable?
I think both. Like, I think, you know, when you see somebody on your side that made it, you know, say, man, this guy, like, he made it. He's one of the best guys in the world, you know, and I'm training to him every day. I can't, like I say, I can't, of course, like, he smashed me every day, you know, but say every time I see I'm getting better, you know, I'm getting better training to him, and I say, man, if I train better, good to him, with the other guys, it's going to be easy fight, you know what I mean? Então, like, this, I think the most is nice when you have someone on the top to train, to kind of like compare yourself, you know. You train with him well, you can be confident. You can go to the tournament, you can fight anyone. If you train with Felipe Preguiça well, you can go to any tournament and be relaxed, you know. But it's not easy, man. He's one of the hardest train. Like, he's beat you up. Like I say, sometimes if you don't want advantage on him, he's gonna call you two more times and gonna kill you, you know.
It's almost like
he's so competitive, so competitive. I never saw nobody like him.
And it's interesting because I've interviewed him, and I know that athletes have to have a very healthy sense of competition to succeed, but he couldn't be nicer to me. So I think that is something that is reserved for people like you who are choosing that lifestyle, that he goes, all right, well, if you're here, I'm going to turn it up. And I'm sure to the kids class or anybody else that comes in, it's like, oh, hey, what's up, everybody? And then murder to you guys. So, go ahead.
No, you can.
The question I have right now is, you know, all of that is contingent on him and his success, but at a certain point, you start developing your own style and vibe. At what point did you start feeling like you were developing a game of your own, and what were those clues that were telling you, like, oh, I'm coming into my own now?
Man, to be honest, like, when I moved to Felipe, like, say, he trained with us a lot, but he not teach that much, you know? Like, he trained. And we have a competition class, we train, and you have the normal class. And like I said to you, I start kind of a little later, you know, all the other guys are already, like, years and years of jiu-jitsu, you know? And I say, how I gonna approach my jiu-jitsu, you know, like, to improve fast, because, like, I need to catch up, you know? And what I developed start was like, I have to understand why I do each thing, you know. And it was the time that I kind of like, say, okay, I don't want to win train, you know. I want to learn from the train. I think now people make big mistakes, try to win trains, you know. Like, try do your main game all the time, you know. You don't want to improve, you don't want to learn, you know. Train is for train. You have to put yourself on certain situations that you don't want to be, you know. And I felt that. I say, okay, I don't need to focus on training, you know, because sometimes you get sad, like, oh man, I'm get too beat up on training, blah blah blah. I say, training should learn, you know, training should work my skills, to go to the tournament where it's matter and use that. That matters, you know what I mean? I think it was kind of like this. I started saying, why I'm doing this, and my game is like, it's kind of crazy, you know. It's a little bit of, you know, it's kind of like, to be honest, like, say, leg locks. I learned by myself. I learned, like, nobody teaching me. You know what I mean? Like, say, was like a see watching how he does, why he put his hands right here. Can try, make mistake. People pass my guard. Sometimes blue belt pass my guard, do something like that, you know, and they talk, pass black belt guard, blah blah. But I don't care, you know. I wanna really like improve my thing, you know. And I was to pay off, you know, like the last SUG, I submit 2 guys with heel hook. I submit Roberto Aurélio with heel hook, like back in the day, JitzKings, and just like this, train like this, you know, like approach my game to not care too much about train. Of course, it's important to train, like, you know, when you have the confetti guy, you go straight porrada with him. But when you get somebody that you feel is kind of the level, you have the level above them, I prefer much more like work my positions, you know, like my technique.
And I mean, dude, I wouldn't have known that coming into it because I looked at your leg lock game and it's, I think, one of the more dangerous elements for somebody who knows how to play fast, who can hit leg locks like that. Because I thought that was what was so cool about your SUG experience was when you had that, it was no delay, no reaction. That match was over very quickly. And it is a skill and it is hard to do, but to know that you would develop that, just on your own and really just making that part of your game, I think that's great, man. And especially, in prepping for the interview, it's kind of cool to go down memory lane because I always try to keep tabs on everybody. So I actually, when I was looking through some of your old clips, I was like, dude, I've watched so many of your matches. It is funny to see how you have evolved because depending on the event, I almost think you become a different grappler based off of those different events. So, like, I feel like some days I go, oh, I've seen this part of his game, or some days I've seen this part of the game. That SUG appearance on that tournament was one that made me say, you know what? That's a nice utilization of a component of your skills. It's kind of where you were at that time. So I thought that was a great display, and kudos to you, man.
It's got, like I said before, it's kind of, I think, when you are strong, you delay a little on your strength,
Yep.
delay a lot, let's say.
Yep.
And I say, until I change my mindset, about like a train, like say, train is for learn, it's not for win, I start getting better and better, Before, like say, nowadays I felt good in every situation, like say I can wrestle with everybody, I can like play guard, I can play on top, and this make me confident to put my main game a competition, I say, okay, I can put my main game. If does I work my main game, I have the other skills too, I don't need just delay on my good things. If things don't go the way that I want, I still have a chance. You know what I mean? I still have a game. I'm a player.
Yes. Translation here, a player means a little different, but I will say...
Sorry. It's different. I don't know because my English. You can see already. It's kind of like
it's what your English is way better than you think it is. I'll start with that. But I want to let you know there is a song with Big Punisher and Fat Joe. It is called "Still Not a Player," and it is a player is somebody who has lots of women. In the context of this, it was almost akin to a pimp, one might say. So that's why I was like, "You're like, I'm a real player." I was like, "I don't think he knows that." I'm going to tell him that right now.
I didn't know.
But you are a player in the sense of jiu-jitsu, in that you are game to play a jiu-jitsu game. So for everybody listening, I made sure.
For me, like say when I fight these things, is all here. Each tournament the strategy is different. I'm gonna approach my game different. Each opponent, my game, like say, all there for me is like start right here. I don't have these things like I just go to just go to the flow. No, I like thinking about everything I do. Even on the mat, I try to think ahead of my partner, my opponent.
It's really cool to hear, man. And a lot of this is very interesting perspective to see what you've been able to put in place. I would be also interested to ask on this, which is now that you've had this kind of crazy year where you've been competing, the rest of the world sometimes is competing, it's been very difficult. How did you stay so motivated at a time when it's very easy to not be motivated? When you don't know that there's another tournament coming, you hear rumors of it, you know that you want to compete, but that there may not be as many opportunities. So how did you find yourself staying focused so that you would be ready for those occasions when they did come up?
You say about on Corona time?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, man. I was blessed to be in Texas, and the Texas Open like a first day all for the first I think state to open, And I kind of the beginning of the Corona was like unmotivated, like say I started a lot, like say, oh man, this, don't know how much gonna delay, blah blah. But 1 week, 2 weeks, I was like, okay, I need to do something, and I never stopped training. I keep training like in the gym close, with my wife and some friends close. We keep train, and when pop about the tournament, like the Third Coast Grappling, I think was the first one committee, and they invited me, was like make me excited, like say, okay, now we have something, and I think on Corona, like it's crazy, but it was good for me on the time of to rise my game, you know what I mean? Like to people know me more, you know what I mean? Because I was able to fight a lot on the Corona time, and I always push myself. I knew that is a good opportunity to shine, on that time. I say, oh, it's not that much people competing. It's not that much people able to compete because some places don't have a tournament. I have a D's right here. I have to take advantage. You know what I mean? And was that I was more motivated and like put my name out there.
One of the reasons I ask, and there will be a follow-up on this as well, is that when doing some research on you, on YouTube, there was a video provided by Roll and Ride. And I thought that was a really exquisite look at not just one competition prep, but like a full story that happens between two completely different competitions. And yet it's a storybook ending because you lose one of them, but then you come back and it's the same guy. And I know I mentioned this in the first time we tried to do this interview, but it feels like you and Roberto, because of size, perspectives, the fact that you're both young, it seems like it's going to go on forever. But what I would say, though, is that I would encourage people to look at that video to get an idea of what it is that you go through, not just for the preparation, but what it actually feels like to document both the highs and the lows of competition. How did that come together, and who put that together?
Was my friend Jay Spiegel, and he was talking to me, man, let's do I supposed to Third Coast, the first one, right, the committee, and he said, let's do just about the Third Coast, let's do interview. I was so confident that I was in that tournament, and I lost in the semifinals to Roberto, and he said, man, how are we gonna we always have a good content, how are we gonna post like you're losing, and I say, okay, I have another week. I have a JitzKings. I say, let's keep going. I'm gonna win that. I say, and first I thought he don't wanna buy the idea, and then he said, man, let's go, let's do it. And he went with me to Miami, Florida, and we did, and we started the first match with David Garmo. Black belt. I wear a brown belt on that time, just I think 2-3 months of brown belt, something like that. So fresh. And finished David Garmo, went second match Jason Hall. On that time, I'm not that good on Leglock defense, and David Garmo is David Garmo. Jason Hall is one of the best guys on this type of game, Leglock, these things. And I was able to beat him too. It was a great match. It was fun to watch too. I was passing his guard. And the semifinal was Roberto again, and I was lost to him 1 week before. But I knew that don't wanna how can I say, don't wanna interfere on each match for me is one, If I fought Roberto already 7 times, let's say. We said 5, I win 5 times, he win 2. But I know that each match is one match, There's no guarantee that I'm gonna win again, beat him. You know what I mean? I have to always for me, each match is new. Like with Varela, I didn't know too much about him on the beginning until I start look for him. I think we kind of now Jiu-Jitsu start the grappling start to go more, but before IBJJF guys, Leglock guys kind of separate, doing tournaments different. But now all together, I saw him. And it was kind of like that. I say, man, this stuff, and with Roberto the same thing. I know that each match is one match. I never can delay on my things that I did back in the day. If I beat somebody, it's no mean that I'm gonna beat again. I have to just keep working hard. If I win a title before, it don't mean that I'm gonna win again. You have to always keep chasing and push forward. Take the bars high.
Well, I would encourage you to relay to your friend that he did a very good job with that, and you guys should do more of those. I felt like
maybe I'm gonna do. I wanna do my. I wanna do kind of like a vlog. It's like gonna be the 3 parts, because this one was nice, but I think we did it too long, and people like sometimes, it was like 1 hour, I think, if I'm not wrong.
It's about 35 minutes. Let me say this. To the regular civilians, it's bad. To me, a person who is looking for interviews and other things. So just to let you know, on my side, when I am doing my research, I will quickly look at what other people have asked you, and I will say, I don't want to ask them that. He's already established that. If this is written about you, I don't want to talk about that. So when I get to see this, the things that I really look for as an interviewer are to take people out of the same story we hear all the time. And this was unique and great because it gave me 35 seconds of somebody not repeating the same story, of somebody not repeating the same training regimen. You just see it. And then when you see it, you get a better sense of like, this is what it means to him. This is what this means to him. I know we always have jokes about, everyday porrada, but I'm always like, every other day porrada. You get those kind of jokes, but you do see what it means to you. So I guess that brings me to my question is, what does porrada mean to you? And how would you say that you exude that?
Happiness. I think like the way that I use porrada, on my life, like the meaning of porrada for me is like, do my best. Like what I love the most in my life is fight. Like I love fight jiu-jitsu. I love all the involved fights. And in Brazil, porrada is famous, right? I don't know if you know porrada. What I mean, is it?
I do, but please
have a lot of like a means.
Yeah, I was about to say, please give me a better definition of it, because I know the watered down meme version and the occasional one that Hamelo puts up that I go, oh, well, all right, everybody, we better porrada because...
Yeah, and like porrada is kind of like, every day is porrada, man. Every day is a fight, You're not just about jiu-jitsu, but life. Life is every day. You have to fight against something, always have something, and you have to always go through. And this is the way that we go, like on porrada. Always push forward. No matter what is in front of you, you're gonna go through. Like the same thing as fight. Like when I say like it's porrada time, is I don't care who's on the other side. I go through. It's like it's porrada time for real. I don't care who you are. I'm gonna try to kill you.
Well, good to know. I will remember that if we're ever playing Mario Kart. I'm gonna be like, he's still porrada right now.
Feel the good sense.
Yeah. In a sport that can knock people unconscious. Yes, in the nice sense, I'm sure. I want to tell you this, man. I was familiar with you when you were a purple belt. I saw your competitions. You've been on my radar. And I always try to find the right time to interview people. And it's easiest for me when I'm there covering the events live, but I'm not at every event. What was particular to me was I wanted to interview you after the last Submission Underground. And then I said, you know what? I don't think he's done there. I think something else is going to happen. And then I knew when that match was going to go. I was like, all right, I'm just going to see how this plays out. And I was so not only pleased with that, but I thought it was a nice continuation of the work that you've been putting in. Because, like I said, from purple belt on, you've been making a name for yourself. You've been building a great resume. It's got to be cool to even get a BJJ Heroes page before you're even a black belt. Like, those things are cool and indicative of a community that respects what you're doing. So now that you have achieved the black belt, what is the journey like to you right now as opposed to where it was when you were becoming that hotshot purple belt?
I think like on you as low belt, like color belt, you kind of like everything is like your opportunity of your life. Let's say when I was purple belt, brown belt, and I have some opportunity, a good match, I say, man, if I have to win. If I lost, the world's gonna, bam. But when you get a black belt, I think you pass time. You understand, like there is a journey there. You know what I mean? You have to work your best nuts is guaranteed. You have to always like try. I would say recreate yourself. And for me, was a black belt was kind of like this. When come with me like this, I say, okay, now I'm black belt. This now I can fight with anyone. Is my anniversary. My diploma. And sorry, man, it's sometimes like the words, but man, it's this like I love jiu-jitsu. This the thing that I'm most like, I love a lot, man. Be on the mats. I love training. I love like competing. It wasn't the happiest place for me is being on the mat and with the under lights. I love it. And with all these opportunities that I have to like say, like you said already, like people sometimes say, "Oh man, this guy, he these people helping him. This one, blah 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 blah. He did this because he's a Philippe student. So, you know what I mean? He knows some." But I'm in a purple belt. I when I signed up to when it started people talk when I win the Kazai qualifier was like purple belt. I beat all black belts. And these are talking about like I always look to create opportunities for me. I never wait opportunities. I think these the mistake people made. Like saying as a purple belt, I went to New York without speaking English at all. Was compete a tournament as a purple belt and just black belts, high level, like Vinicius Ferreira, second place in ADCC. A lot of good guys. And when I win that, was a purple belt, I say, okay, it's this that I have to, you know what I mean, to do to grow in this sport. I have to create opportunities. Like I did that. I beat him, and people start to Pedro, the purple belt win Kazai qualifier, blah, blah, blah. Now he's on the main event. I say, this I need like create opportunity. Because before I waited too much, I say, oh man, this guy gonna help on this, maybe this guy gonna talk with someone to help me get on the event, blah, blah, blah. But this don't gonna happen, you have to go and create your opportunities, create your, your chance. And when you have the chances, like I say, I saw a lot of people, sometimes people send me messages, say, man, how are you able to get a lot of super fights? I never get a super fight. How you get that much super fight? Like I say, when I get the super fight, the guy pay me to show up, is paid to show, I always show up, like show. And I'm gonna give everything, win or lose, And I think this is the thing. It is like say, it's a great opportunity. When I go there, I put all in the line. Let's say I can lose, I can get embarrassed, you know what I mean? But I always put all on the line. And I think it's because these people always want me back on the events. They know, even when the match, like say, I try as much as I can do exciting matches, but it's not all matches exciting, Yeah. And I think even when when I make, like say, when the match is not exciting, they understand it's like, it's not about me, because if it was about me, I'm going to go head to head. It's not just about me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I cannot, like, I tell people, I cannot, we don't fight two guys to fight, It's not just one. And style shoes, sometimes I felt like it's too much different styles, you know what I mean? You have to always push yourself and try, like I say, all rules. I fight in all rules, and like, I never train specific for one, I never train, I just train jiu-jitsu. And then, because for me, the idea of jiu-jitsu is submission, right? And any rule, submission is allowed, and it's okay. Any rule for me is okay. All this. Well, I'm happy with, like, say, I have been creating opportunities, and now it starts to pay off. As a black belt, I start to see the things start like going even more, ahead.
I mean, I definitely see it in you that this is a great continuation of what you're doing. I'm very much looking forward to what's happening next for you. As we mentioned, it looks like you'll be back on the Submission Underground 26. I believe that's August 15th, so I'm very much looking forward to that. Tell the people, I know it's written down here on your side.
Uh-huh.
But tell people where they can find you or how they can give, kind of support to you, or if you want to shout out sponsors. The floor is yours, sir. Go ahead and say as you will.
All right, guys. If you guys wanna, follow my journey, just follow my Instagram. Is right here. Oops, right here. Pedro Marinho, JJ, and thank you for the opportunity to be here, guys. With you, I hope you guys enjoyed the interview. Thank you to my team, Gracie Barra West Chase, Gracie Barra Katie, and everybody who shared from me, all the people who like my work. I really appreciate it.
Pedro, I got to tell you, man, again, as somebody who has been watching what you've been doing and been very impressed with what you've assembled so far. How old are you right now?
24.
Yeah, okay, we're going to see for a while. So I just already like what you've done, and I think it's really, really great. You've got a great game. It's fun to watch. As an audience member, you're enthralled. I thought for sure you were a huge helping hand in getting Third Coast those great matches. JitzKings, same thing. And now even branching that out and doing more even fun things on Submission Underground as a guy who also competes in IBJJF, which is kind of dope because that doesn't always happen. So as a person who is a fan and who tries to absorb as much of it as possible, thank you so much for doing that.
Thank you.
Here's
sorry, guys, for sometimes I kind of get out of the context, the English going.
You're fine. Again, so if you were, how old were you when you were in New York? Did you say you were 17 when you came there? And did it?
No.
How old? No, you had to have been about 20 or so, right?
2019 was like I'm already like 20. Yeah.
So if that's the case, that was 3 years ago, and you didn't know English then?
No. I learned English like I did November. I make 2 years here in America. I'll do 3 years that I live here. And was this time between that I learned English. Like, didn't know nothing, never did school, nothing like this. Just learn, listen, podcasts.
What was it through podcasts? You said?
People talk, in the gym and podcasts. First, I learned like put your hands right here because I was used to teach, yes, guys, put your hands right here, your foot put here, and then I'm gonna just listen people talking a lot, and I started listening a lot of podcasts, or it helped me a lot.
Which podcast?
I can understand more than everybody say that, but I can understand more than I can talk.
Understand. I get it. As a kid who grew up with Spanish, people would speak Spanish to me, and I would always respond in English because my brain was predominantly English. So people would be like, "Can you speak Spanish back to us?" And I go, God, I wish I could. It's programmed just to respond that way.
It's crazy for me. Like I say, I live here just gonna have just 2 years, and sometimes I'm gonna talk with my mom, I'm gonna talk with my wife, and I mess up, like talk English sometimes with them, besides Portuguese,
Well, I'll tell you this, man. I don't think I could do what you did for Portuguese as well as you are doing it for English. Like it is very impressive. It's for 3 years. It's some very solid English skill.
I'll get better next time. You see, next time I come back, I'll be better.
I'm sure you will be, and I'll hold you to it.
Every day in life.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure there was an aggressive pojada that you're doing, and that's probably what got you so quick up to that. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to put a pin in our conversation now. We will pick up, I'm sure, at another time when you got something great going on. But Pedro, it is a pleasure to get to talk to you. Thank you again for all that you are doing in terms of competition. I look forward to seeing what the next thing is. And if you stick around, I'll say hi to you and bye to you off air. But my appreciation to you, sir.
Thanks so much.
All right, guys. That is going to do it for us here today. What a great interview. Really cool story. Really cool to get to know Pedro and what he is all about and why you get the great matches out of him. Granted, I know there's another video that says we did an interview with him earlier. I haven't fixed that yet. I'll do it later. It exists, and it's good. I mean, I got to say my opinion on Gio and Mikey, which, by the way, is a thing. So I will go more into that on the next episode of Verbal Tap, which I'm going to record with Kevin in about 30 minutes. So look for that tomorrow. That's when it's going to come out. Tomorrow, it'll be on your iTunes, your podcast, wherever you go get those things. But give us some love at all these different places right over here at Grappling Hour on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitch. Oh no, I forgot if Periscope even exists. Who gives a fuck? Just go support us. Go love us. We love you guys. We have more fun stuff coming up. I don't know when because I'm working all the time, but I guarantee you we have some great interviews and some great segments that I think you are truly going to love. So give us some love and keep an eye out. Until then, it's been a great day for grappling. I remembered my catchphrase. Earlier today, I didn't remember what it was. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.